hated middle school, a giant sack of sadness and self-hatred. She was a little too self-deprecating for it to be normal, but definitely laughed enough that it was clear that she was doing alright. Just alright.
Middle school graduation, I jokingly dressed as though I were attending a funeral. Ironically enough, that's how I happened to feel about leaving middle school, where I finally felt comfortable and had at last found a small social circle that I felt welcome in. In hindsight though, this attitude and outfit choice was quite regrettable. My next graduation event wouldn't be 4 years down the line like I thought it would be. This is all to say that I wasn't exactly at my highest entering high school. My brother, 3 years older, has always been my best friend and biggest role model. I followed in his footsteps almost religiously coming into the 9th grade. Just as he had, I joined the Jumpstart program and the school student council. Both of these things helped me transition into high school life pretty smoothly, and it was all thanks to him. However, by the end of it all, I had come to a few conclusions. I was stagnating. Well, I realized my brother would graduate from high school soon enough, and he wouldn't be around to guide me forever. Besides, I wasn't achieving much growth independent of what he had already laid out for me. I hadn't grown socially like I had hoped to leaving middle school, nor did I feel capable of independence, and I still majorly lacked the self-confidence that I needed to grow. On top of all this, I felt pressured to hurry and find something that I was passionate about as topics of post-secondary started to slowly creep into my life. I knew I liked art, but that was really general, and I didn't quite feel particularly passionate about any specific part of it. I was stubborn and afraid of leaving my comfort zone. My childhood was extremely intertwined with Western cartoons and Japanese animation. At some point, I decided that I wanted to learn to animate, and it kind of just came naturally to me after growing up alongside such strong creative influences. This led me to go into the 2D Animation 11 program in grade 10. I loved it. It ran parallel to my passions, and very quickly, I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in 2D animation after high school. I began planning to enter an art-oriented university to study the craft. I really just never had so much fun making art before. The course led up to the creation of a 2D animated short film as a final project. I excitedly launched into the project with extremely high ambitions, and the weeks leading up to the completion of the film were probably simultaneously the best and worst weeks of my life. I learned a lot about myself in the creation of that short film and had fun throughout the entire process, but the crushing workload I had brought upon myself, paired with consecutive long and late nights, caused my already weak time management skills to crumble and decay. It was a lot of hard work, but that's not to say it wasn't worth it. I ended up finishing my film just in time to submit it to local film festivals. About a month later, it all paid off. My little film won Best Junior Art Direction at the BC Student Film Festival and Best Junior Film at the Real Stars Film Festival. Up to this point in life, I had never really received such tangible recognition for any of my work, and I'd never felt so accomplished as well as reassured that I had a chance in the animation field. This was an instrumental boost to my self-confidence. Around the same time, with encouragement from my peers in the student council, I found myself campaigning for the position of Director of Design, committing to campaign a platform for why my fellow club members should vote me for their design executive. This was a huge leap for me. I had never done anything like it, nor had any grade 10 ever run for the club's elections before. I put together a speech and, in the process, surprisingly discovered that I actually really enjoyed presenting, which was a huge shocker to me, as someone who had struggled to raise her hand in class just a few months before. A few stressful nights of campaigning and a speech later, it was with no doubt that, with my new confidence, I had overtaken my opponents in the running and captured the position I was aiming for. grade 10 was a huge year for me. For the first time, I began to explore the unknown realms beyond my comfort zone, and I was able to accomplish so much because of it. Grade 11 was the year I achieved that growth in my social life that I had been longing for all this time. I began to connect with like-minded individuals in my classes on deeper levels, and the relationships I created that year were extremely genuine and meaningful, many of which have since developed into what I continue to hope will be lifelong friendships. This newfound, tightly knit circle of close friends that had now developed around me helped me grow exponentially through shared experiences, fun memories, unforgettable shenanigans, and a fair bit of trauma, although I always found myself having a reliable support group to fall back on amidst the chaos and the highs and lows of high school life. Meeting people who supported me for exactly who and how I was helped me, in turn, accept myself, boosting my own self-confidence and, really, my overall happiness towards life. I began to look forward to school every morning, and getting out of bed became so much easier with them around. So, senior year, I've definitely been the busiest I've ever been this year, and honestly, it's been wild. Back in September, I got my first quote-unquote real steady part-time job working as a cashier. I've been having fun budgeting my time between work, school, and my personal life ever since. Even greater feat was that I entered the art careers course. I really did have trouble keeping up with the deadlines, but I created some amazing work that I'm insanely proud of. I explored my limits and discovered more about my own creative process in the course. Two of my pieces, titled In Between and Holding On, got pretty far, making it into Evergreen Cultural Center's Emerging Talents Showcase this past winter. It's a huge exhibition showing off great artwork from art students from all around the school district. It was such a great honor to be part of this professionally juried exhibition, and it had been a goal of mine since grade 9. I was super proud. Above all, I continued growing even closer to my ever-expanding group of found family, making memories that I vow never to forget. As I began to hustle down to prepare for university applications late last fall, it quickly became clear to me that I wouldn't be pursuing a future in animation like I had dreamt of with so much adoration for the past 2 years. In short, my parents didn't quite approve of the choice conversely to what they had expressed in the past, and financial pressures didn't support the funding that would have to go into my education at a pricey art school. This realization tore me apart. I had spent the past few years building an impressive portfolio for applications, and it took me forever to let go of this dream I had. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't still bitter. Those wounds are still fresh, and that's fine. After processing a whole world of internal conflict over the matter, I came to settle on the next best thing: filmmaking. I've always been drawn to visual storytelling, as was reflected in my interest in animation, and I'd always fantasized about making short films. I had been really excited to bring my visions to life this past semester in Film 11, where I'm currently in the process of producing my first live short film. Sure, film isn't the path I had envisioned taking, but who knows? I might fall in love with it, or I might learn to hate it and move on. I'm on a path I hadn't anticipated, but especially in regards to current world events, I've begun to see that that's just the way life tends to play out. Film has only just appeared on my horizon, and I've yet to find my footing in it, nor have I even figured out what direction I want to head in. I'm inexperienced, but the point is, I'm ready to learn, and I'm excited to meet the people that I'll find along the way. So, I recently accepted my offer to study film at SFU this fall. I figured that in film, I would be able to continue to express myself creatively and artistically while sharing my stories and ideas with an audience, which I suppose is my ultimate goal, regardless of what I do. In terms of the core competencies, I do think that I've grown in the area of personal awareness and responsibility. I faced a fair share of personal struggles during my years here that I haven't shared in this, and have had to learn to understand how to better others using the effect of my own actions and words wisely, as well as to become a more resilient individual who can be mature and responsible in handling serious and interpersonal conflicts, and to navigate ambiguity with grace. I've also explored a more positive personal and cultural identity. The individual I am today is wildly different than the one who first stepped into voting so many years ago. I'm much more confident, sociable, and independent now. My peers can rely on me, and so can I. Truly and honestly, it's been nothing but an extremely formative and valuable 4 years here at Glen Eagle. I've learned so much more than just trigonometry and biochemistry within these walls. I've learned the value of vulnerability, respect, and trust. I learned what it meant to struggle and succeed. I reached highs and lows, made memories I'll cherish for a lifetime, and discovered so much more about myself. I really wish I could stay, but if I've learned anything, it's that we keep moving, and that we'll always be doing the best we can, no matter what best is.
So, thank you.